Carla Borman, 6th grade English Language Arts and History teacher, or some call it humanities. And unlike Kendra, who has been here since the beginnings, somewhat of the beginnings of the school, I was hired about 3 days before school was to start, and it was definitely divine intervention that I ended up here. And I didn't really know much about the 9 core values. I did read on the website about the mission of the school, and I thought, oh yeah, that sounds great to me. And so it has been a process for me of really integrating these 9 core values and realizing, even before I knew about them, that they have always been very important to me personally. And the way that, excuse me a minute, I incorporate them in my classroom, I'm just going to go through each one and give you a few little examples. It's really interesting because there's not a whole lot of difference between a 1st grader and a 6th grader, except the size of their body. They need a lot of structure, and most of the time I don't run a tremendously tight ship in my classroom. But I also have to be honest with you today and tell you I was a terrible example of the 9 core values this morning. Actually, all day long. But I was able to talk with my scholars about that. I woke up late. I never wake up late. I woke up late. It threw me off. I had a difficult day with the scholar yesterday. My advisory class was awful. I'm sorry, they were just awful this morning. And I had one who has his shirt untucked, and every day I tell him, you need to tuck in your shirt, blah, blah, blah. And I had no patience, and they could see I had no patience. Ms. Borman, what's wrong with you? Well, I am not in a good mood. I am crabby. You all are driving me nuts. And so before I left them, or before they left me, I was able to say, I apologize if I am not modeling what I teach this morning. I'm not in a good mood. I woke up late. You know, you all have been more out of control than I like, but I want you to know that I love you and respect you, and please make some different choices for the rest of your teachers the rest of the day. So if for nothing else, at least I was able to be honest and transparent and tell them that there are a lot of times on a daily basis when I falter in one of these 9 core values. Every morning, just like the lower school, the lower grades, the upper grades start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and we start out at the flag. And this is something that's always been important to me. No matter where I have taught, we have always said the Pledge of Allegiance every day. And I have always told my scholars that it's okay if you don't want to recite the pledge, but you will be respectful while we're reciting it. And I am thankful here that all of the scholars really desire to say the Pledge of Allegiance. But if there's something that makes my hair on the back of my neck crawl when I see a scholar who is not being respectful while we're saying the pledge, or not being respectful when somebody's up giving a quote from one of the founding fathers or someone from our past history. And so my job is to lovingly tell them that they need to look to what it is that they're doing. And also in our class, it's a privilege for me to be able to talk about those that have come before, our ancestors. One of our spelling vocabulary words this week was ancestor, and we were able to talk about that. So I appreciate that here at John Adams Academy we can focus on really appreciating our national heritage. Public and private virtue. Like I told you, I first and foremost let them know when I am in error, when I have not held up the 9 core values. And that's really important to me, that they can see that as adults we do make a lot of mistakes. And that I am able, on occasion, I will misjudge a situation that's happened in the class, and I have told them that they are more than welcome to come to me respectfully and say they disagree with me or that I was wrong about this situation. And when I'm wrong, I want to be the first one that says, I was wrong. And I apologize to you, and I need to ask your forgiveness. Our scholars, because they're young, have a difficult time just accepting responsibility for the mistakes that they've made. And hopefully, by me showing them that I make mistakes a lot, and that I just need to acknowledge that and to learn from it. Hopefully they too will learn from that. And I have a great example of a scholar that every time at the beginning of the year, and he was not at John Adams Academy last year, every time he did something that wasn't exemplary of our 9 core values, and I would talk to him about it, there was always some excuse. Well, you know, he made me, you know, or, well, you know, I was just asking for a pencil, or, and I would just say to him, let's accept responsibility for your part in the whole thing. And yesterday, perfect example, how he just has become a different person as a result. And he is able to accept responsibility now for the things that he does. And because I'll try to remind him, it's okay, just accept responsibility and learn from it, and let's go on. I also try to remind them to how to respectfully stand up for themselves, because I try to remind them that as an adult I will make mistakes, and as long as they are respectful about that, they can call that to my attention. Mrs. Borman, you didn't really understand the situation, and you got so-and-so, you fussed at them when in reality it was different. And so I'll say, great, tell me what it is that I need to learn. Be respectful about it. There are times also when, and they know they can't argue with me, you need to do what I'm asking you to do, and then later you can come back and say, can we talk about this? And that is hopefully I'm teaching them to respectfully obey first and then come and have a discussion with your mentor teachers, your parents, whomever it might be. They're still children. There are things that they do they just need to obey, even if they disagree sometimes. But that can we please have a dialogue about it later? Emphasis on mentors and classics. I love that we teach the classics. Of course, as an English teacher, what English teacher wouldn't love that you get to teach the classics? And none of this fluffy stuff that they want to teach nowadays. I'm so excited to teach things with noble language and things that will affect their lives and my life. Last year I taught Arabian Nights, and I had the freedom this year to go, you know what, I don't really like that book. I didn't learn anything really from it. I'm not saying it was not a great one, but when I went to Dean Brophy and said, you know, I really don't want to teach that book this year. I have another one that I'd really like to teach that I think would make much more of an impact on their life and my life. And great, she says, let's do it. And I just thought, thank you. There's nobody that has dictated what we are supposed to teach. Well, I'm sorry, but the district teaches these novels. As long as it is classic literature and it's good, noble language and will affect our lives, the board and the administration has said, great, you back up why you want to teach this novel, and we will, you know, we're right there behind you. Student-empowered learning.